This was another parable that Jesus was speaking to his disciples. The scripture says this nobleman, he was going out. He was going to get a kingdom. And he called his servants and he delivered 10 pounds unto them and said unto them, occupy till I come. Anybody he calls, he gives them something. Every single one of you who's sitting in this church, you may be looking at the drummer or the musician and saying, wait, God will bless them with talent, boy. I want you to know that God put something inside of you as well. He calls us and prepares us. He calls us and empowers us. So not only did this nobleman give pounds to his people, he didn't only give them something, but he also gave them instructions what to do with it and for how long. So he called them, he gave them, he delivered 10 pounds unto them, but he also said, occupy. What to do with what is inside of you? Occupy. So, but what is occupy? Occupy is not coming to church and occupying your seat. He's not saying occupy only on certain days. He's not saying occupy when it's convenient to you. But he's saying just occupy. And what does that occupy, what does that word mean? That word means, listen, in the Amplified Version, it says, he said unto them, do business. In other words, get busy. God's business is to love him with all your heart, mind, and soul. God's business is for you to love each other as yourself. God's business is winning souls. God's business is to take care of the widows, take care of the orphans. That is his business. So when the Lord is saying occupy, whatever that is inside of you, listen, use it for God. Use it for his kingdom. Use it for his glory. So he says what to do and how long? He said, occupy till the brother or the sister offend you. He says, occupy until the pastor says something on the pulpit and you get offended. So he said, occupy until then. Occupy until you decide that it's convenient for you. Did he say occupy until you say, listen to me, I did enough, you know. Until I retire. But he said, occupy till I come. Has he come? Not yet. So that means we're still supposed to be seeing about his business. Isn't that right? Come, listen. The time of his coming, like Pastor said, over and over and over and over. Jesus is coming back soon. And with the new developments down in Israel, we can see that, listen, that window is just decreasing and getting smaller. So you have limited time to occupy. You have limited time to use the gifts, the abilities, and the resources that God has put inside of you for himself and for his kingdom. He said, listen, man, I'm not of that. That is for Pastor George, and that is for Brother Barry and Sister Joanne, and that is for them. But God didn't only put something inside of us, did he? All that he called, he has given something to you. There's coming a day when he will hold us accountable for the things that he has put inside of us and we didn't use. But you know, this verse was very interesting to me. But it says, but his citizens hated him and sent a message after him, saying, we will not have this man to reign over us. The people that he called, and he placed something inside of them, they were to go to the same people who didn't like Jesus. These citizens who hated him represents the people who reject Jesus. They represent the unsaved people. They represent the ones who don't know him. But it was still required from God to those servants, listen, you need to do my business. And so I want to encourage us, listen, don't be intimidated by those people, by the unsaved. Sometimes we are shy. Sometimes we don't know what to say. We don't know what to do. But God has put something inside of you that will allow you to reach these people. If he received the kingdom, it means that he came back as king. And Jesus Christ, he is coming back as king. He's not coming back as that babe in the manger. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 20 to the end. God has raised him from the dead and has seated him at his right hand. He has placed him high above all principalities, high above all powers and dominions. Listen, your Jesus is not no jokey Jesus. And he's coming back with that authority. He's coming back with power and might. There is coming a time when he will come back as judge. And listen to what it says. He said, come. He commanded that these servants be called unto him. And so they came to him, to whom he had given the money, that he might know how much every man had gained by trading. There's coming a day when he will hold us accountable. This is what this king was doing here. He was saying, listen, I gave you some money. What did you do with my money? There's something inside of every one of us. And he's going to ask us. So I want to advise you. Get involved. Find out what it is and use it. It's our responsibility as leaders in the church, listen, to provide those avenues for you, to discover what God has placed inside of you. But it's also your responsibility to get involved to find out too. So right now there are many avenues. Men ministry, youth ministry, women ministry, helps ministry, hospitality ministry, that ministry, and tree. What are you doing right now with the gift that God has put inside of you? So we see this guy, he used the pound that he got. He gained 10 pounds for the king, and the Lord rewarded him. The next guy came, said, Lord, the pound that you gave me, I gained 5 pounds. Yeah, what stood out to me, It's not the amount necessarily that you bring or benefit that you bring to the Lord. He just wants to make sure that you're not sitting idly with what he has given you. The same appreciation he showed for the one who brought 10 is the same appreciation he showed for the one that brought 5. Because they used what God had given them. You may look at somebody else and say, God has given them so much. Listen, don't look at them. Look at yourself and find out what he has put inside of you and use what you have. And another came saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound. They take it back. He said to the servant, I will judge and condemn you by your own words. You worthless servant. Then why did you not at the very least? You know what that implies to me? It means that he didn't try nothing. That is what the king is telling this guy, He said, at least you could have done this. Listen, I'm speaking to somebody here. At least you could try to do something for the Lord. Occupy till he comes. Try something. Get involved. Then he said to the bystanders, take the mina away. Take the pound like we read before, away from him and give it to the one who has 10 minas. And they said to him, Lord, he has 10 minas already. So the bystanders, who was not involved in anything, they did notice that this guy, he don't get 10 cities, But he don't get 10. You're going to give him a next one? He worked for his reward. Don't watch when people get blessed. You do your own thing and you get blessed. Listen to the words being used here. I tell you that to everyone who has, he has because he valued his gifts from God and has used them wisely. Do you value your gift from God? Are you using it wisely? Are you using it at all? If Jesus hadn't come yet, your work ain't done. And if you're here, we have the opportunity this morning to make things right. Every single person here have the opportunity to make things right.